Okay, hello everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. This makes a lot of noise, I guess. But anyway, um, yeah, so I'm going to try to make more video responses and do more videos because apparently that's what's required to get the message out. And I really think that the message. Hold on a second. I really think. I really think that the message needs to get out about how the Table of Nations, especially, shows that the Bible is true and accurate, and you know, and that it also is pertinent, relevant to our life, of course. So, but in today's video, I just wanted to talk about how I, when I do a lot of text responses in the chats for videos that come up, from skeptics or Christians or otherwise, I'll often get a quick response from people who object to what I'm saying about the family trees and the Y chromosomes and et cetera like that. Hello, honesty angel, shalom. So, but whenever I do that, I'll get like a quick response, and then I go to explain what it is that I'm talking about and what the facts are, and they might make a couple of responses objecting to this, and then they just disappear. It's like they vanish into the woodwork or something. But this happens on an ongoing basis. In other words, you have all these videos making all these claims about, evolutionary claims, Darwinian claims, and then I say, well, that's just nonsense. There is no evolution. There is nothing. And people are so miseducated and misinformed that they'll immediately respond, or may or may not respond. But that's because they just have no idea. Hello, Erica. They just have no idea as to what the facts are because they're so misled by propaganda, by, what I refer to sometimes as pig-headed academics that think they know more than God, and they think they know it all, they think they know everything. But of course they won't ever come and debate or have a discussion to talk about it, see how much they know. See how much they really know, because they're just repeating whatever they were told as well. So it's an ongoing circle as people are trying to set their clocks, and everybody's looking at everybody else's clock and setting their clock by everybody else's time. And you know how that works. Everybody's time is going to be way off. So, because if you go with a consensus, and everybody else is going to consensus, you're not going to be right. You're going to be way off. So when we present the facts, then the skeptics just have nothing to say. They just, disappear. They just vanish into the woodwork. And then so I make more comments on other videos, and other people comment that never, obviously don't know what's going on or don't know what the issues are. And then they object a couple of times here and there, but then when they see that, they might object a couple of times, but when they see that what I'm saying is true, then, there's really nothing more for them to say, and they'll just vanish. But instead of coming back to me, or getting back to me and saying, oh, I can see what you're saying now, or, well, my connection is really having an issue. What is it, cloudy or something? It's not that cloudy. Maybe some dark clouds coming in, I don't know. Anyway, so these people will come, instead of coming back to me, oh yeah, I can see what you're saying, or yeah, the facts, what you showed about the CY chromosome, it does belong to the African family tree. You're right about that. Instead of coming back to me, they'll just disappear. So that's the reason for the title of my video is that skeptics are vanishing, which is a good thing, probably. But it's a lot of work. And so we need to target, hello, Jerome. Yeah. So we need to target these educated, quote unquote, academics, these educators that think they know more than God and are teaching this nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It never was even almost true, ever. And every claim they ever make is always debunked, always disproved. They find a pig's tooth and try to say it proves evolution. The pig's tooth proves evolution. For 50 years, seeing this. 50 years, every claim is always disproved. Oh, it's this man. They say it's this man, it's that man, it's Lucy, it's whoever, you know. And then it's debunked. No, Lucy is a collection of bones that were scattered all over the place and included baboon bones and who knows what else kind of bones. And it didn't have any hands or feet, of course, because that would have shown that it was an ape that climbs trees, an arboreal ape, which is what it was. But I didn't even like to waste my time even talking about this stuff because it's so much nonsense. And they only invented Lucy to begin with, saying it had human feet, because they're trying to explain away the Laetoli footprints that were in layers that were deeper than what they thought they should be. So this nonsense is never ending. It's absolute, utter nonsense. And you got to explain it over and over again. You got to explain, yeah, we have actual known human history. Every ancient civilization goes back to the time of Noah. There's no civilization existing before Noah because every ancient civilization that we know of is on top of the sediments deposited by the global flood. So we know they existed after the global flood because they're on top of the sediments deposited by the global flood that have all the animals that were living at the time of the flood. These huge, humongous animals, all of them. The bears were huge. The dogs were huge. The sloths were huge. The turtles were huge. Just all these, and the people were huge too. Even after the flood, some of the people were still huge. And people like Nimrod was probably a huge person, great hunter before the Lord. And the Bible says that Nimrod is the son of Cush. And of course, the CY chromosome is the only African Y chromosome in the area. And it couldn't possibly be anybody else. Because Nimrod was the first king of the whole world. He was the king of the world. He had no reason to go to Africa. His father went to Africa and became the father, all of his sons became the father of the sub-Saharan African people. Keeping in mind that not all Africans are sub-Saharan. The Phoenicians are African too. They've been in Africa this whole time, since they went there, since they moved there. Mitzrayim, Egyptians, they're African too. They've been there the whole time since they went there. Mitzrayim, Put, from the first Phoenicians that are, confused with other Phoenicians. Later there was Phoenicians, they were not necessarily descendants of Put. But Cush's father is the father of the sub-Saharan Africans. That's who Cush's father is. The CY chromosome went east, all the way south to Australia, all the way east to the Pacific Islands, all the way east to over the the Bering Strait, and on into America. Then they in North America have the CY chromosome. The Olmecs obviously had influence from African features. I mean, there's no use arguing. They're still arguing about it. I'm still responding to videos that's saying that people claiming or saying that there was a retraction of a journal that said that the Olmecs were African people. They retracted it, said they're not African. Well, yeah, they're not technically African because they have a CY chromosome from Nimrod that never went to African, but they belong to the African family tree. Not only the African family tree, they belong to the descendants. They are the descendants of Cush because Nimrod is the son of Cush. And the CY chromosome can't be anyone else. There's no one else that can be the progenitor of the CY chromosome. There's also the DY chromosome, which is separate from the CY chromosome. Either it was a son of Nimrod early on, or it was a brother of Nimrod somehow. You know, another brother that never actually went to Africa initially. They went east. The DY chromosome, of course, is the Y chromosome of the Andamanese. Maybe that's why they separated, I don't know. But it's also the Y chromosome of the Tibetans, you know, half the Tibetans. It's also the Y chromosome of the Japanese, 1/3 of the Japanese population. As you go up north, of course, it's more, probably half. The population has a DY chromosome, which is from the African family tree, no question about it. This is not up to discussion. It belongs to the African family tree. But there's this big discussion and people doing videos saying, no, the Olmecs, they were not Africans. There's people today that have similar features to the Olmecs. Well, obviously, they're the descendants, right? But autosomally, they became more of a mixed population. And if you'll notice, not all the Olmec statues are African. There's a lot of very Asian-looking statues from the Olmecs. So it was a variation of between Asian and African features of the Olmecs, or of the statues depicted by the Olmecs. And of course, the Y chromosome in the area, the only Y chromosomes in the area are the Q and the C Y chromosome, you know, of significant proportions. Not that there's no other Y chromosomes found. Say hello, Christian Carpenter. So, you know, this stuff is, to me, has been like, you know, obvious from the beginning, you know, second nature, or however you want to say it. You know, the Table of Nations are the grandsons and great-grandsons of Noah. And they all line up with a particular Y chromosome. And all the Japhethite Y chromosomes, you know, line up with the sons and grandsons of Japheth. Line up with Gomer, Tiraz, Javan, Meshach, Tubal, and Magog, and Madai. That's 7 sons. And in Europe, the population is known to have been descendants of Gomer. And you have 2 populations in Europe, or Western Europe. You have 2 populations. You got the R1A and the R1B, and you can't mix them up because they're 2 different lines. And it turns out that one is Ashkenaz, the other one is Riphath. And then there's an R12, another R2 over there on the other side, that is the Togarma. the brother of Ashkenaz and the brother of Riphath, Stogarma. And you have Madai. He asked to marry the daughter of Shem. So in Asia, you have an Asian Semitic Y chromosome, and you have a Japhethite Y chromosome. So you have two different Semitic lines. You have an Asian Semitic line, and you have a Middle Eastern Semitic mitochondrial line. And that's because Madai asked to marry the daughter of Shem. So Madai obviously went east into Asia, all the way to America, and he brought with him the AY chromosome. Okay, in one of the videos I kind of mixed it up a little bit. I was saying the B was from Madai. The B is the Semitic, from the Semitic line. So, but Madai, or the QY chromosome, did bring the AY chromosome with him into America. And the AY chromosome is a Semitic line that was always Asian because it was never Middle Eastern. It's a complete separate line. And then there's a whole bunch of other, haplogroups connected to it that are from the same line, which is from the wife of Madai, which is the daughter of Shem, which is the Semitic daughter. And that's why you have both Semitic mitochondrial DNA in Asia and Japhethite mitochondrial DNA, because both are represented there. For some reason, Madai felt the need to marry the daughter of Shem because maybe Japheth didn't have so many or enough daughters, or for whatever reason the mitochondrial DNA of Japheth's wife is not as prevalent as the mitochondrial DNA of Shem, or Shem's wife. So that probably explains it right there, because when you look at it, you see two lines of mitochondrial DNA. One is in Asia and the other one is in the Middle East. It's puzzling at first until you realize that the Bible tells us that Madai, who is of a Japhethite, asked to marry Shem's daughter. And who knows how many others married the daughters of Shem, But it is what it is, and there's no denying what it is. So the Table of Nations is borne out by actual DNA, and it's not something we can wonder about or think about, or maybe this one was from this one or this one is from that one. We know for a fact, by way of the algorithms, when you analyze the DNA, it assigns each haplogroup to a branch of a specific tree, a specific branch of a specific tree. And you cannot take it off, swipe it off and put it over into another tree. You can't do that because it doesn't fit, it doesn't match. So we know for a fact, absolutely, how many haplogroups are Semitic and how many haplogroups are from Japhethite's wife, and how many haplogroups are from Ham's wife, and who they are and where they are. This is absolute. This is not up to speculation. This is absolute, because you can't take a person from one tree and try to fit it in another one because it doesn't match. The algorithms assign you to a certain specific branch of a specific tree. And there's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. It's a fact. So these people, these And this video of this guy doing the retraction of the highlighting the retraction of the African ancestors of Olmecs. He's an atheist anyway. He had Josh Bowen on. He highlighted Josh Bowen as a doctor. So you know where that's going. And he's an admitted atheist anyway, so. And you know where that's going. You're not going anywhere, because if you like putting your foot in your mouth, that's your thing, right? But if you want to be accurate and not have to retract what you put out there, then you can't be a skeptic. You have to agree with the Bible, what the Bible says, because if not, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be proven wrong, because the Bible is always borne out to be true. Always, always, always. In my whole existence, you have the archaeology they're digging up in Israel. They're digging up signet rings of kings and prophets by name. And you try to say they don't exist. They found there was a house of David. And if you read in history, you'll read about the house of Nimrod. What's the house of Nimrod? Nimrod is his household. After he died, he had a whole bunch of descendants. Obviously, clearly, because they went everywhere. And he was the only one there. He was the king of the whole world. The king of the whole world was Nimrod. There wasn't anybody else with a Y chromosome from the African family tree in the area. There wasn't anybody else as significant in history as Nimrod. It can't be anybody else. So it's just amazing how accurate and how true the Bible is. Hello, Patrick. I didn't see you there. So I'm going to try to, make more videos, because apparently the more videos we make about this, the more the message is going to get out. And I want for the message to get out, And I believe that people should be talking more about it, because it's, to me, it's absolute. There's no denying it. It's absolute. I mean, the fact that the CY chromosome never went to Africa, and his father did, and they get it backwards from the beginning. They start out with the A, the B, A and the B, because they think that the more mutations there are, they think that's the older line. And it's the same thing with the K, the M, and the S. They think that's, they have that as an original line, each one of them, because of how much genetic distance there is, how many mutations are in the line. So, anyways, and yesterday I already talked about the Neanderthal DNA, which, when you understand that the Neanderthals were Japhethite, it comes up on a map clearly. Everywhere there's African autosomal DNA and Semitic autosomal DNA, the Japhethite autosomal DNA is diminished. Which is the Neanderthal DNA. We could talk some more about that maybe some other time. I'll try to get to the Denisovan, talk more about the Denisovan DNA and things like that. But anyways, I guess that's about all I have for right now. I'm just, if I do like a daily, or at least more often a video, then I won't forget some of the things I think about, and want to say. So I'll be trying to do more videos in order to get the word out, the facts, the truth, so that people aren't so confused, because people have no idea. One guy today, he was saying there should be a emoji for laughing on YouTube, or a button for laughing on YouTube, so I could laugh. I said, yeah, but you're You're not saying anything, Yeah, but I just came to laugh. Okay, so you just want to be insignificant, irrelevant to what the topic is. You're not telling me anything. You're not informing me anything. You're not correcting me. You just want to laugh at me? Laugh about what? What are you laughing at? Are you sure you're not laughing about yourself and how little you know? You know. So that's the way it goes. People think they know what the facts are. They think they know what the truth is because they think they learned what the truth was in school when they were totally misled in school and totally misled by their peers and totally misled by these academics that they think they know more than God. And they're the first ones to judge Christians is these academics that think they're the source of all truth, or a library or source of truth or something. And then they like to criticize, and then they demean and bash and put down Christians when they're the ones at fault, when they're the ones that don't have the truth, when they're the ones that don't know, or like Reagan said, they know a lot of what is not so. They learn so much about what is not true, and they think they know something. It's just a horrible existence, if you ask me. But it's, they've been misled too. People, when they act and react and do things they do, they think they're doing a good thing. They think they're doing what they should be doing, but it's because they're so misled and don't know what's going on. Remember the sons of thunder that went and called down fire from heaven, and Jesus said, "You don't know what spirit that you are of." They don't know. They think they're doing right. They think they're doing a good thing, but they don't know, and they're misled. So we need to get these facts out, absolute, because this is absolute scientific truth. This is absolute. This is not maybe, possibly a chance, a percentage of chance of this and that and the other thing. No, this is absolute because it's a paternal line that goes all the way back to its origin and a maternal line that goes all the way back to its origin. This is not like autosomal DNA when you compare yourself with your cousins. Your cousins might have 2 segments of DNA in common with you. They might have 1 segment of DNA common with you. It just depends how much of who was copied from where and who ended up with what. It's not like that. It's not like you're going to be, because, sometimes you'll have a lot of segments of the cousins. Sometimes you'll have just 1 segment with just like a little bit of information that you have in common with the person. Depend on how inbred that you are. But some of us are more inbred than others, but that's another story. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I do have I think it was a great-great-grandfather that married a cousin that was like a 5th cousin or something like that. But it turns out that my cousins who are descended from them have a lot of genetic information in common with me. I mean, a lot. That's very, kind of surprising how much genetic information. So there might have been even more of a relationship there than I even can tell from my genealogy, just straight genealogy going back. But that's the way it always is, But the mitochondrial DNA and the Y chromosome, the paternal line and the maternal line haplogroups are not like that. These are absolute matches because they don't change very much from one generation to another. The Y chromosome, in 300 years, I have about 5 differences from the other people that are related to me, that are descended from the same ancestor 300 years ago, they have 5 different numbers of copies than what I have. They have 5, and out of 111 places. So out of 111 places, they have the exact numbers of copies of the Y chromosome genetic information that I have. And 5 of those places, the numbers of copy is off by 1. One number. And it's scary. When you look at it, it's scary because you're looking at somebody else's genetic information that is lining up exactly with yours. It's 14, it's 13, it's 18, it's 32, it's, whatever it is. It's exactly what you have in those 111 markers. I don't know what I said before, but it's 111 markers out of 111 places. They're exactly the same as you in your Y chromosome, with the exception of five markers, what they call markers, that have a different number of copies. Instead of 23, they have 24. Instead of 14, they have 15 or whatever. So, and that's going back 300 years. So it doesn't change enough to where you can be confused as to which tree that you belong to, which haplogroup that you belong to. And there's more than one way of checking it too. There's 2 ways of checking the Y chromosome, where they can absolutely identify what your marker is and what exactly your branch is. They'll even give you a specific number. For example, I'm an I1 M253, which is that Semitic Y chromosome. But more than that, underneath that, I have a specific number designated to me and whoever else is closely related to me, which I'm not going to tell you what that number is because I would identify myself. But that's how accurate it is. So, this is not up to question. When you understand what it is, when you understand what a paternal line is or what a maternal line doesn't vary that much either. So you can, with the algorithms, you can definitely assign a person's haplogroup, which I don't know as much about the mitochondrial because I've never did a mitochondrial test. I'm just going by my mother's cousin's mitochondrial test. Which, and my aunt has, a lot of my genetic information, obviously, because of my mother, it's her sister. Anyway, it's all interesting, and we're all learning little by little, bit by bit, and some people are learning facts, some people are learning things that aren't so, as our former President Reagan said. Anyways, that's enough for now, I guess. So, Timothy, how are you doing? Okay. God bless everybody. Take care. And, of course, the truth will set us free. Always. No ifs, ands, or maybes about it.